Welcome to Tamer Bowling Video Ball Reviews. We need your support, so if you like what we do, please support us by joining our Patreon page. Visit our partner pureatbowling.com and use the special code TAMER when making a purchase to be entered into a monthly drawing. I want to thank Limerick Bowl for their support. If you're in the area, don't forget to visit Limerick Bowl in Limerick, Pennsylvania. Today we're testing the new Roto Grip Hustle HSB and AU. We're testing on a 40-foot medium house shot and the 40-foot Kegel Abbey Road pattern. First impressions, you can stay right and have forgiveness. The Hustle HSB was my favorite, blending the elements of both the other balls. For value, we gave the HSB a B+ and the AU a B. The Hustle balls have cheap entry. They're both good entry-level balls as well as specialty balls and deeper arsenals. Overall, we gave the HSB a B+ and AU a B for house shot, and the HSB a B+ and the AU a C for sport shots. The Hustle Inc. has been a very successful ball and well known by now. It made a few TV shows. Matt O'Grady won a TOC with it. We have these other Hustles which bring hybrid and pearl covers, not the first out, but these are the ones we're reviewing, and I would say the Inc. is the most different from those, the HSB and AU, whereas these two are not immensely different from each other. Starting with the hybrid, I will say I really like this ball. It allowed me to play fairly direct without worrying about that massive over-under you can get when playing that close to the house shot friction. I wasn't perfect, but playing around the second arrow through the fronts and into the outside friction just seemed to blend just right. It was really easy to strike, and if anything, at the minimum, supreme pocket control. It's definitely clean with easy length, but the low diff core means it comes off the pattern smoothly without a herky-jerky motion. Sometimes lower end balls become very flippy, and it's not the case at all with the Hustles, which is why they are particularly liked with more competitive bowlers. I just found the ball to be smooth, but enough backhand to carry. I can just relax and throw the ball up the lane. With the gold pearl, it was playing in the same zone, but the subtle differences made it a little less ideal for me. It was a touch cleaner, and with that meant it was also a little slower down lane, so it doesn't quite make it up the hill from the same line. However, if I move even one board left, it'll hook too much. So in the oil, these balls don't respond much. In the dry, they respond smoothly, but since the pearl had to be played on the same line as the hybrid, the reaction was less ideal due to the weaker back-end angle it was creating. The Inc., just for context, is a bit earlier, allowing for more time for the backhand, even while being smooth. It's just a different shape than the other two. For Bryan, he really saw pretty much what I described for myself. He's a touch more direct, going 3-8-9 at the arrows, and seeing the smooth but definite backhand. Pocket was fairly easy to find. Most of his misses were in or at least red early because he's pointing the ball a bit, and that's it with the HSB. Now again, with the AU or the gold pearl, it's a touch cleaner, and he tried to move further into the dry on the right to get it to face up more. However, that meant through the face, just as I saw. So he had to work a really tight line. Interestingly, even more direct, opening the angles to the outside, and the ball didn't make it back. The gold is just cleaner and weaker, and it ultimately not the best matchup for Bryan. The Inc. was about 2-1 stronger than the hybrid HSB ball. And then we have Jeremy with his higher rev rates, higher speed, and also higher tilt than me. Ultimately, these balls just felt too weak for him. He just wasn't far enough right for the most part, to be honest, and so struggled to point these balls to the pocket while still getting carried. So if he's sticking to near the third arrow, that meant he had to pull his break point in as well, otherwise the ball's definitely not coming back. But then it's in the oil down lane, so in the oil fronts and backs, and that's just not good for these balls. It really doesn't matter which hustle. There isn't much more I can say about the delta between the balls, as it's pretty consistent and narrow for all three of us. Moving on to the sport shot, we used the 40-foot Kegel Abbey Road pattern, and starting with the HSB, I was completely taken by surprise with how good a look I had on the sport pattern. I could play, again, pretty direct, about 11-7. I missed 12-9 and thought through the face, and then I strike. And I think, whoa, there's hold. And then I miss 9-5, falling off a shot, and it comes back to tickle him down. I was thinking, could this have been what I needed to master this pattern? Regardless, it was really fantastic. Now with the AU or the Gold Pearl, I lost some of that magical balance, let's say. On the same line it worked. However, I tried to simulate the same misses and in wouldn't hold, while it was a little too easy to scoot easily past the 5 if I simulated the miss out. So I would say close, but no cigar. The ink looked similar to the HSB, but now that same primary line rang a corner pin instead of carrying, maybe just coming in a little too slow. And Jeremy saw a pretty similar motion to what he saw on house, but still struggled for the same reason he did on house, just not getting direct enough, but getting no added control from the ball on this tougher pattern. Bryan had about the same look and really about the same delta. Surprised with what the HSB did and difficult to manage the Gold Pearl. The ink being a touch stronger than the HSB meant moving in a bit more and losing back-end motion, which made it even more tricky. The HSB would be the only ball Bryan would remotely consider for this type of pattern. So final thoughts, I don't use this too often, but it really felt like the Hustle HSB, the hybrid, was the Goldilocks of the three. It's the one that had the right length with the right amount of back end to work for Bryan and I. It was also surprisingly good on the sport shot, even in the out-of-box shine. Ultimately, these balls will offer, like I mentioned, the control entry-level ball or that control specialty ball in deeper bags.
I need to tell you what Tamer Elbaga reviews.